Hey, John Kavakis here with a very special edition of My Take. Now, this is going to take a little time. The video is longer than I've ever done before, but it's a total recap on the Chicago 143rd weekend over the March 19th. So we've got a lot of dealers to talk to. We've got a lot of models to show you, a lot of depictions of the fellowship we had and the good time that we had. And then I'll have some comments at the end. But if you couldn't make the show, I hope to be able to give you a little bit of the flavor of what it was like to be there. So get yourself a cup of coffee and relax. So things started out on Friday night where normally the people that get there early go out and have dinner together. We had reservations at Palmer's Place in LaGrange, just down the road from the hotel, but it was St. Patrick's Day and the place was absolutely crowded. Some of the guys got seats. Here's a picture of the folks that ate at Palmer Center, most of them. Starting over by the section reserve sign is Harv Goranson. His friend Debbie, new to the collecting, a very sweet lady. Bob Short and his bride. Back to us with the hat on is Greg Gunn. Sitting next to Greg is Tom Syriac's brother, Denny. And then next to him is Tom. You can't see them. And then just peeking in the edge there is Randy Schultz, John Stiles, and Tom Syriac. Actually, I believe that was Charlie Barnett that's sitting next to Denny. So they stayed at Palmer's while we had another group that found tables a few doors down. Tom Kinney found the place for us at a Mexican place. I can't remember the name of the place, but food was fantastic. That's Jeff looking right into the camera. Sitting next to him is Frank Resibazinski, Charlie Barnett, Tom Kinney, that's me over there in the end, John Stiles and Randy Schultz, who defected, came with us. So did Charlie. Carl Snell, and there was Jeff's nephew looking in there. A young guy was a fantastic help on the weekend, just a joy to have time with. So we had a great dinner, and that kind of took care of things for Friday night. Now, Saturday started the whole show weekend, and it started with the 143rd and Automobilia show staged by Jeff Lane. Now, this was the fourth one. The next one will be the fifth one. And I got to tell you something, we've got two shows open to the public on the weekend. This was making the weekend so complete and so great. And Jeff's been working hard on this. This is the biggest show he's had yet. There were a dozen or so vendors, people all over the map on 143rd. Incredible selection of 143rd. Jeff even had Brooklyn make a special model for the show, 25 editions of the Lincoln Zephyr in a spectacular black. So we owe Jeff a debt of gratitude. He's really working hard to make this a complete weekend, and the 143rd and Automobilia show has become an integral part of it. One of the reasons that we drive so far to get to Chicago. Let's take a look at what the display floor looked like. Okay, here's Jeff's display. It's him and his nephew there. Some of Jeff's offering right there, you see that 59 Ford station wagons, Jeff's original model. Only a few of those around. There's a Buick from Brooklyn. You see some things he has for sale there. We'll back up in just a little second here, and we're going to take a look at two things that's coming from Jeff Lane's Second City Motors. There's the Zephyr. Boy, I'm going to tell you, that is a stunning model. It's just beautifully done. And that black paint with all the chrome trim really makes that thing pop. Here's some other cars that he's had on sale. One of the interesting things that he had sitting in his booth was a detailed version of the last Club Riviera. And boy, I'll tell you something, the detail really makes that pop. A couple of us sent ours out to have that extra detail done by Czech Rose. And it's just a beautiful model. So Jeff had several models on sale. There's Denny and Tom Syriac. This is Tom Syriac's booth. It's the first time Tom's had a table, and he's selling some of his more precious models. He's got some S-Vols there, the 29 Cord. He's got a few other things, and he's got some of the Mullen collection on sale. They're really nice models. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they were limited editions. Came out a few years ago. Just really good looking models. And Tom's a great guy. He's been a friend of the hobby for a long time. So you can see Tom's got quite a selection of models there. All of them are just first class. And so the next booth down was Mikhail Bashmashnikov, B and G models. And Mikhail just has jewels. These are just fine models. He's a huge Bugatti fan, and he's very passionate about detail, miniaturization. Just a great guy, and those of you that have done business with Mikkel know what a joy he is to do business with. But he's got these incredibly detailed models from EMC. Some of them he's made himself. There's a little boat skiff type thing. Mercedes right there is just beautiful, two-tone red. There's the Duesenberg 20 grand. He's got models of submarines. I'm not sure if he made them or if he's got them somewhere, but he was showing them off. And right beneath that, you can see that skiff that he's got with some, I think, Russian writing on it. There's another submarine that he's had available. They're pretty neat little models if you're into boats. There are magazines that have featured some of his models. Mikkel has actually made a few models on his own. He's really quite the artisan. There's that skiff again. And Mikkel wants to make sure that we see that the magazines have covered some of the models that he has offered. There's a 20 grand, and I don't know if you've seen the EMC version of that, but it's just absolutely stunning. A little close-up on the 20 grand. Prototype, a couple more Duesenbergs. All of them are beautiful. Now this model is something very special to Mikkel. It's the first model he made himself when he came to the United States. It's I think a 1959 Lincoln Continental, and he just found it from another dealer. It's a prized possession of his. Next booth is Greg Guns. He's got an incredible selection of models here. I want to give kudos, shout out to Randy Schultz for taking the pictures. He very carefully got every model that was on display at the 143rd Automobilia Show. But you can see Greg always has a great selection of models. That's him walking around in the back there. He's got some Brooklyns, a little bit of everything, resin, white metal. Greg usually has a bunch of things on sale. And I don't know if you've ever done business with him, but he's a great guy to do business with. There's his Dodges, his Dodge wagon, beautiful models. And Greg's had some struggles with the supplier on those, and he's handled them well. But those models are the D500 wagon, just an absolutely stunning model. There's some more of what Greg has to offer. And of course, that Dodge D500 is part of his Motor City Revival collection. And we're hoping to see some more of those. But Greg's always got a nice selection. He also has some bargain models as well. Next booth is the Brooklyn booth. There's Skip Johnson there watching me having a conversation with Randy Rusk. We had some Brooklyn specials, there's the Heritage Edition there, a couple of Lotuses, and then some stuff directly from Brooklyn. We had the Venturas on sale, 15% off. The Engine was 15% off, so buyers snapped that one up on Sunday. There's Jeff's Zephyr. And in the background, there's a club special that was available. But in the background, you see there's a selection of Riviera's NB Center models that were on sale for 15% off. There's Elmo's most recent offering, the 68 Cobra Jet Mustang. And of course, those NB Centers, we still have a few of those left. If you're interested, let me know. There's the real star of the show, beautiful car in two-tone. A couple more Brooklyn offerings, something from the Pink Collection, another car from the Pink Collection. Beautiful models. Skip Johnson, John Stiles, Carl Schnell, Tom Kinney, and Randy Schultz all helped in the Brooklyn booth on Saturday and Sunday. And I got to tell you something, I wouldn't be able to do any of this without those guys. They're real troopers. There we had applications for the BC. And here's Tom Dernberger's booth. He and Dale have been coming up with some really amazing GLMs. He had a selection of new GLMs. Take a look at some of these here. Some of these you've seen before, but then there's some brand new stuff as well. They're all beautiful. Tom does a really good job of picking out special colors. There's the new Turismo Hawk, the Gran Turismo Hawk, and there's 4 different colors, and that was a big surprise. We didn't know that was coming, but even more, we had these spring specials from Chrysler, just beautiful cars. Take a look at these colors. These were very limited production in the 1-1 and limited production from GLM as well. Tom had these made especially for him and Dale, and he had them on sale there. Beautiful cars. There's some more Chryslers. A station wagon back there. There's Tom's coming, soon to be introduced convertible in dark blue Imperial convertible with a buckskin interior. That is a stunning model. I saw it in person. It's just absolutely beautiful. And Tom does such a great job of picking out the colors, and he's proud of that one, as he should be. There's some more new GLMs, very limited production. If you're interested in any of these, you got to get in touch with Tom. And so these were all stunning, really colors. I'll be doing videos on some of these very soon. But here was the big surprise. So next booth is Charlie Barnett. Now Charlie comes from England for these shows. He comes just about every year. He's been known to come twice. He always has a really interesting selection of models. Some rarities, all of them really nice. Every now and then he's got some really nice Motor Cities. There's a BCC Club car, another NABCC Club car. Rare Astrovet, and then we've got the Automodello booth. Jim Cowan was there. Selection of his really exquisite Automodello models. A couple of new offerings in there. He really merchandises well. And Jim's models, as you know, are just little jewels. There's a few models that are relatively new to us, the Griffiths. Beautiful models, and he's got some interesting offerings as well. There's Jim just sitting down behind him. Maybe we'll get a picture of him. We'll see. But there's his 143rd line most recent offerings. There's Jim. Then we have Howie Levine. Now, if you've ever dealt with Howie, you know he's a unique individual. He's a really great guy to deal with. He has a lot of fun when he's selling a car, and you can have a lot of fun when you're buying a car from him if you understand who Howie is and how he does business. But I'll tell you something. He comes to all the big shows, and there he is. He's just having a good time. And that's what Howie does. He has a good time with his models, and he has a good time with his customers. So a very wide selection. Usually comes with some Motor Cities. There's a few up there, some design studios. And you saw the Brooklyn Buick down there. Always got interesting stuff. An Imperial tied up to a trailer. And he travels with his partner. I think his name is Rob, I believe. And they usually have their displays right next to each other. They set up and tear down together. And there's an incredible selection of Brooklyns, beautiful cars. And I'll tell you something, they were priced reasonably. Randy took his time and make sure we got a picture of every one of them. You know, there's some rare ones, there's some standard issue ones, but they always have a large selection of models. There's some neat stuff there. That's one of the models that John Roberts designed, that Continental there. Yes. And there's some inexpensive stuff, and you know, something, you know, throughout the show is just price points for everybody in the hobby. You know, Frank Switkowski was there with his models, a selection of high-end models. Dave Gilbert of the Toy Car Geek was with us at the show. He spent a few minutes to sit down and talk to us about the hobby. Got a lot of background noise here. I've tried to filter it out, but you can hear all the excitement from those people who were attending the show. Let's see what Dave has to say.
Okay, we're here with Dave Gilbert of the Toy Car Geek. We're at the 143rd and Automobile Show in Countryside in Chicago. It's a big weekend. Dave, you drove up just to attend the show.
Absolutely. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm really glad I did. It's good to meet everybody that I've been corresponding with over the last couple of years.
Now, I've been following, you've got several pages on Facebook. You're doing a lot on social media. But tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am basically specializing in 143rd resin cars, and I'm slowly trying to ramp the business up next year. I intend to take it full time, and so I've got a pretty good base here. I'm starting to get into a little bit of 1/18th as well.
Boy, you're a rare breed going full time at a time like this. But this is kind of like the golden age of 143rd, don't you think?
I think so, absolutely. And I'm actually, fairly new to the 143rd and the 143rd resin. And once I saw them for the first time. That was it. And have been doing this since 2019, and really it's kind of exceeded my expectations. So that's why I finally made the decision very recently to do it full time.
I think you've done some really neat things as far as marketing is concerned, keeping your name out there. What companies are you dealing with right now?
Right now, I'm working with GLM and Stamp.
Great folks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Friends of the hobby too, by the way.
Absolutely. And working with SVOL too, and also Gold Bar. Working with Sergio again, and
We're dealing with Alex at SVOL.
Yeah,
Neat guy.
Yeah, he really is. So,
and of course Sergio. Yeah, well, you gotta love the guy.
Absolutely. Have not met him in person yet, but I hope to soon.
You're in for a treat when you get to meet him. He he's one of us. I'm just assuming you're a car guy, are you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Sergio's one of us. He's got the big cars. He's got the small cars. He loves everything. He was at the show a couple of years ago. And I'll tell you something. He was in his element. He's out there shaking hands and talking to people and picking up his cars and saying, "What do you think of this?"
That's right.
You gotta love that. So you a little bit of 118. I've seen one of the GLM 118s. What do you think of those?
Oh, they're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I got some of the 76s, 118 scale 76s that they did a while back, and I didn't buy nearly enough of them. Those sold out right away. So I made sure to buy a lot more of the 74s that are coming out.
Great. Okay, so how do folks get in touch with you?
Toycargeek.com. If you go ahead and Google that, I'm going to be about the first 10 hits on that, so I'm pretty easy to find. Also, like you said, I'm on social media, Facebook page. I'm also on eBay.
One last question. Where do you think the hobby's going?
I'm very excited about where it's going, actually. I think I'm seeing just some of the things that I'm dealing with. I'm seeing a lot more volume coming out, so I'm very excited about the future. And
we do not have a volume problem. There are so many choices out there. It's hard to figure out how to allocate your funds.
Right. Absolutely. I'm having that problem right now, right here.
Yeah, that's what happens when collectors get together with collectors, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dave, thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
Dave Gilbert, ToyCarGeek.com.
Last booth belongs to Bob Short. He was there with his wife. They drove in from Maryland. Probably one of the few dealers that drove further than I did. Bob's been in the hobby for a long time. He's part of the National Capital Area Model Club, meets in Dunn-Loring once, I think 3 times a year. So he's got an eclectic selection of models. He's a big fan of DeAgostini's American Car Series, and he searches down multiples of them, and he's pretty reasonable on his prices. So he's come a long way. It's the first time he's been at the show. Really delightful gentleman and his wife, and very, very passionate about the hobby. So they went to dinner with us on Friday night, went again on Saturday night. They took place in all of the activities for the weekend. We're hoping to see them again when we have the show next year. So Bob, very nice merchandiser, puts on a very nice display. And then we had a few guys. There's Frank Racibosinski had some models there. Some of his. He was talking to Buzz, who just stepped off the screen there. Carl Schnell's there. And Frank, for the last couple of years, has been liquidating part of his collection. And again, he collects high-quality models. He's very reasonable on his prices. He's a great guy to deal with. We all had dinner at Salerno's, a pizza place up there in Countryside, not too far from the hotel. The pizza was inexpensive, but it was absolutely delicious. Everybody gathered there. We had great fellowship, and it was a great end to the day Saturday. So Sunday morning in Chicago, it was cold. The folks working at the 143rd Forum booth gathered early and had to stand in line in the cold to get into the show venue. But there was a lot of excitement, and there's early access for these. So while you're setting up, there are collectors all over the place trying to look at your models and so on and so forth. But the Sunday show is always well attended, and we were really looking forward to setting up the booth and talking to everybody. So our 143rd Forum hospitality booth is just about right inside the main entrance. We've been running this booth since, I think, 2008, where we had one table in the back by the concession booth. As you can see, it's grown. We now have 4 tables, sometimes 5. Variety of Makes and models are just on display and on sale. And we're in a primary location, so most of the people that come in get a chance to take a look at our booth first. As you can see, Brooklyn is prominently displayed. They always send a great selection of display models and stuff for sale and show specials. And of course, we have the BCC applications there for those who want to join the club. Goldvarg is another primary attraction in the booth, has been for several years. Sergio very generously sends prototypes, new releases, has some sale items, and we always look forward to being able to put his models on display because a lot of people want to pick them up and take a look at them and handle them before they make their buying decision. And of course, GLM has been a strong supporter of the booth for the last couple of years and this channel. That 1978 Eldorado on the turntable is a brand new model introduction. We got to do that at the show. I'll be doing a video on it in the next couple of days. And the 78 Cadillac Coupe de Ville in 1/18th, absolutely stunning. A beautiful model. That's one Dave Gilbert was talking to us about a little bit earlier. We also have some other new model introductions there, and a selection of their most recent releases were on hand as well. There were a lot of dealers, a lot of familiar faces. Here's Buzz Kirkle had a booth right next to ours. Kind of came in at the last minute, but he's putting on display a motorized toy that belonged to his grandmother. It wasn't for sale, but it was something, a little bit of a keepsake for him, and we were privileged to be able to see it. Well, Greg Gunn was with us on Sunday as well. There's a picture of his Dodge wagons again, beautiful models. And Greg took a few minutes to talk to us. Again, there's some background noise here. Please excuse that, but you can hear the excitement of being at the show. But let's hear what Greg has to say about the hobby, where we're going, and maybe a little bit about where it's been.
We got Greg Gunn, who's been a dealer for quite some time and a real friend of the hobby. Greg, it's good to have you with us today.
Good to be with you.
Thank you. So, how long have you been a dealer?
Since the 80s.
Since the 80s.
Yes.
So you've seen it all come and go.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
What changes have you seen in the hobby?
Some of the major shows completely dwindled away because of the internet. But I've seen the changes in the model making, from being crude to very nice detail model. And then the resin come in. There was resin a long time ago too, but now they really refined it.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, the attention to detail is a little better, but people like the heft of white metal. So that's still a strong market, and it's worldwide.
Yeah, it is. And of course, we're talking mainly 1/43rd scale.
Exactly.
And that's the worldwide popularity.
Yes.
We don't have that 1/24th over there in Europe, that sort of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So you not only sell models, but you have commissioned some. What kind of models have you had made for you?
Well, I just had a 56 Dodge D500 wagon made. I've had other models made in really low numbers, which didn't pan out because someone else took the idea and sold them by the thousands.
Yeah.
And so I'm stuck
It's
with
one
some
of the
things.
hazards of
Somebody's stealing your ideas.
Yeah. I'm sorry that happened.
But I think what's interesting is the guys that have the passion for real cars, that also have a passion for the models. It seems to run deeper for some reason because of the memories, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
And what really blows my mind are the Europeans that love American cars.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've been over there several times, and people want to talk about the cars they see on our streets here.
Oh, yeah, like Dubai, Cadillac collectors
Yeah.
in Dubai, things like that. I've developed a clientele over the years, which is really nice. So all I have to do is somebody will email me or.
Now you buy collections.
Yes, off and on.
So how can people get in touch with you?
By email or phone number.
Okay, I'll list the email address so you can see it. Are there any other things that you want to share with us? Where do you think the hobby's going?
Well, I guess you can't help but talk about the economy right now. But even during the Depression, people invested in art. And it's kind of hard to figure it out why. But, the prices of everything are going up, but the shows have been great.
Yeah. I think there's a
even
lot of
during
pent-up
COVID.
demand because of all the lockdowns and everything.
Yes,
So we've seen
even
it.
during COVID, and I think people want something tangible
Uh-huh.
that they can hold on to. Like a lot of 43rd collectors look at the models as jewelry.
Uh-huh.
You know, they put it in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
category.
Yeah.
So
And some of them are they're packaged with the high value package, something
Right.
that you might put on your desk. I know most serious collectors have shelves and that sort of thing, but the industry seems to have moved a little bit towards the jewelry aspect that you mentioned.
correct.
so-
The other thing, and it's kind of sad to see, but a lot of the old time collectors are dying off, and their family members have no interest in what they have.
Yeah, I've seen that before. So guys like you become really valuable.
Well, I help
Yeah.
people too.
Yeah.
I not only buy collections, but I'll help people broker them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I've seen you do that before, and that to me, that's admirable because it's not just in it for the money; it's in it for the hobby, for the people that are involved in it.
yes, especially like a family member that lost their father or whatever,
Yeah.
and they just have no idea where to start with what was left, and so I can step in there and help them out.
Great,
You know, and
Greg, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
great.
That's Greg Gunn at the 143rd show, 143rd weekend in Chicago, Countryside.
So all in all, it was a really great weekend, starting Friday afternoon, going all the way through Sunday afternoon. The crowd at the show on Sunday was huge. Jeff's show on Saturday really lends a lot to the weekend. It's very much more focused, great dealers, a lot more time to interact with each other. But Sunday afternoon, after the show, with all the help we had from Randy and John and Skip and Tom and Carl, I was able to pack up and head back down the road. So that's my take on the Chicago 143rd weekend. But I got to tell you something else just before we close. I love that ride home. It gives me a chance to reflect on the weekend, to think about the people I've met, the things that we've done, and the value of being there in person. You know, I love the photos that everybody shares on the lines and the forums, and I love the videos. I love doing the videos, but there's nothing quite like meeting somebody in person, picking up a model and taking a close look at it yourself. So this turning out to be quite a weekend. Jeff's done a great job of promoting that Saturday show, and then we roll right into the Sunday show, and we're going to be doing it again. Carl and Tom and I are looking at other venues that we might be able to do shows at. We'll keep you posted on all that, but we want to be the folks that are out there saying, hey, come on, let's have a good time together. Isn't that what the hobby is all about? We should be having fun. The hobby is about having fun, is why they call them hobbies. So thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, I know it was long. I know it took some patience with the background noise. But if you enjoyed the video, give me a like down there. And of course, we'd love to have you as a subscriber. This is my take. Thanks for tuning in.